Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about how to talk to a woman you're attracted to. And we're going to use research in this. All research is going to be in the description box. I understand if it's not accessible to everybody. I tried to look at research that's more accessible to people that are not part of or affiliated with a university or a student. However, it's kind of hard because some of the good research is actually behind university libraries or behind a paywall. But I did try. And in general, a lot of times the research that I use, it's going to be a mixture of things that are accessible versus not, just because sometimes I like using all different types of research. So the very first one is actually to start with genuine non-physical compliments, okay? Now, this research was done in 2002, and we had recognized that we want to avoid opening with a compliment about physical appearance, because sometimes what can happen is the lady might think it's actually ingenuine, or you might have some sort of ulterior motive or even a malicious intention. And I know you guys don't mean it like that, but that's what she might feel. So instead, compliment her sense of humor. It could be her insight. It could be her intelligence. And this does show, research shows that authentic non-physical compliments foster deeper connections and signal genuine interest much more likely and more lasting than just physical compliments. You can use a mixture of both, but I would definitely say starting with a more genuine non-physical compliment can really, really help, okay? The next one is actually using open-ended questions. Instead of yes or no questions, ask her about maybe her experience, her thoughts, her passions. This research was done in 2000, and we had recognized that actually doing things like this, open-ended questions, actually create more flow in the conversation. And a lot of times the reason why that is a lot of ladies actually subconsciously, their upbringing, biology, whatever reasons it may be, they expect their partner to lead conversations, which I know can be really frustrating for you guys. And maybe that's just the way things are at this time. And so what ends up happening is by you giving her yes or no questions, interesting enough, she might think that means you're not interested in her. And so she doesn't answer anything more than just yes or no. So asking open-ended questions can really help. And it can also help you guys to signal not just your interest, but see if she's interested in you. Because if she's interested in you, she will take those open-ended questions and be open and expressive towards you. The next one is actually practicing active listening. This research was done in 2014, the one that I'm looking at, but I know that there are plenty of research on this, so you don't have to look at the one I was looking at. But the one I saw, actually, we kind of compared the effectiveness of active listening in initial interaction. So like right when you meet, which I think is really helpful, because this is about kind of talking to a woman that you don't really know. And so that's what I thought was cool about that particular research. It's actually the initial interaction. Right when you're practicing active listening, you're not interrupting her. You're showing genuine paying attention, such as nodding, making eye contact, paraphrasing. This actually creates a more sense of connection and trust to which you can build it into something more, likely a relationship, okay? The next one is this research is older, but I've told you guys before, I don't mind using older research. Sometimes I feel like older research has a lot of stuff in there that nowadays we just aren't getting. This one is 1999, and a lot of people know about this research. It was about what some people called it the chameleon effect, where we can see the perception behavior link in social interactions. So basically it's like when you're mirroring somebody. And usually the way we look at it in conversations is if you match her energy and her tone. And so if her tone is very excited and bubbly, sometimes you heightening your tone a little bit, being a little bit more excited, can help her feel appreciated, and it makes her feel like you're hearing her and you're very engaged with that particular conversation. Your attention is not divided. Mirroring body language can help as well, but conversational tones are much more important, as well as just matching what she's saying and communicating in your perspective. Let's say you guys are talking about values, for example. When she's saying, maybe she has a particular value about something, you might start taking that moment to mirroring her perspective where the conversation is going and start talking about your shared values and find connection. That builds interpersonal attraction and connection, but it also builds trust, okay? Now, humor, a lot of people know humor is very helpful, but we want to use it, carefully. And I'll explain that. So this research was done in 2006, and we saw that humor actually, how would I even word it? it produces appreciation in a romantic, bedroom intimacy type of way. The research was done about human evolution. So there's a biology component, and there's also human behavior, so a psychology component. And what we saw that it does actually help more intimacy in the bedroom, if that makes sense, by adding more humor in your day-to-day interactions. And so the example, what we kind of saw was like more playful situational humor to help ease tension. We don't want to use sarcasm necessarily or jokes at others' expense, because it allows that person, even if you're doing it to somebody else, you're making a joke about someone else, the woman you're trying to talk to might think that it's just a matter of time before you make fun of her, for example. And so humor does signal intelligence and warmth, and that is kind of what can create that bonding in the bedroom or outside of the bedroom or just connecting in general. So as long as it's situational and playful, it sounds like most of the time that can be very beneficial based on this research, okay? The next one is interesting. It's about expressing vulnerability with, of course, a balance. You don't want to overshare too much because that can create issues for you. This research was in 98. And we can see that sharing something slightly personal, a good example is sharing a challenge you've overcome, so it makes her feel like you can take on challenges. So that's a really good example. Can foster emotional closeness and authenticity, especially in early interactions, right? Most of this, we're talking about early interactions. You see a girl that you like and you want to bond with her even more. You're attracted to her. And you want more connection with her. So these types of communication can be very helpful. Some sort of vulnerability, okay? The next one is being more aware of the context of situations. A lot of people struggle with this, so I'm not going to blame you if you do. This research was done in 2009, and basically paying attention to whether she's engaged in the conversation can really help, because if she's not engaged, you can move the conversation to another direction to see if that will engage her further or less. You can kind of gauge that. I know it can be a little annoying and challenging, but in general, you can do this with any situation, and it's a helpful skill. Is she facing you? Is she making eye contact? Is she giving short answers? Is she giving more descriptive or detailed answers only with certain conversations, but other things she seems like she's shutting down? Understanding that that might mean that whatever she's shutting down about, she's not ready to open up about quite yet, okay? And the last one, which I think a lot of people will find a little annoying, but I think it is true. This research was done in 1994. Being yourself does benefit relationships. People are more attracted to people who are actually more authentic than people who are trying to impress. Now, the reason why this happens is not necessarily just the first interaction, but in general, it's hard for relationships, marriage, and even courtship to go past a certain point if you're always continuously having rehearsed lines or a persona. It can backfire. Self-monitoring can make some sense. If you want to make sure you're not talking a certain way or you don't want to come across rude, that's okay. But you don't want it to be where you're masking who you truly are, because a lot of times people might think that that means that you have some sort of negative intention, even though you don't. And so being authentic creates a sense of safety, if that makes sense. I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.